Welcome, Islander fans. You finally made it. Olympic break. It was a long several months. Season 7, Episode 11, Olympic break. Uh, Welcome, NHL fans who also come on and visit to the show every once in a while here. Glad you can join us. My name is Paul Kreischer. I'm your host this evening. Gary and Joe are both not feeling well. So, unfortunately, you're stuck with me. Uh, but this will be a good one. We're going to do a little bit of a State of the Union um, in terms of the numbers that we've seen through almost the first 60 games. And, it's not a full State of the Union. Gary's not here. I always, enjoy getting his input as well. But leave your comments, uh, in the comment section here in the chat room. That'll get started shortly. And, give me your thoughts on the Islanders so far this year. And we are going to talk about the trade deadline. Because in all honesty, I think the Islanders only have about 4 or 5 games uh, before the trade deadline, and we'll get into messy March. There's a lot of games going into March, but listen, let's get into it here. Your 2025-26 New York Islanders. Okay, Joe and I have been saying this before now, even at the beginning of the season on episode 1. Give this team 50 to 60 games, and we go from there. Okay. Let's see where this team really is. If it's been this healthy, if they were just going to be like the New Jersey Devils, um, where was this team really going to be at? And again, Joe and I did not have any expectations for this team at all. To be blunt, we had them probably somewhere where the Rangers are right now at 73 points. Excuse me, on pace for 73 points to finish the season. It's where we were. Did we expect Matthew Schaefer to be who he is? Nope. Nobody did. You're getting a quality year from Bo Horvat. You're getting a quality year from Ilya Sorokin and even Matt Barzal. We didn't know what we were expecting this year from this New York Islander team. So what we're going to do, just got done watching Miracle. Oh, yeah. Great, Charles. No pressure. No pressure at all. So listen, we're going to do it this way. The numbers don't lie. This is a segment I love to do every once in a while. Yes, it's off a spreadsheet, but it's been something I've been doing now for almost 15 years. Um, you can actually start eliminating teams very early into the season. And the theme, the mood of the NHL kind of changes once you hit the game 40, because then it's not so much about the wins, but it's the lack of losses uh, once you hit that second half of the season. And for those of you who are new, number one, welcome. Number two, the numbers, when I say the numbers don't lie, I play the percentages. I have always played the percentages. For me, it's less stressful that way. When you're just going by the points and the rankings like that, that's drama. I'm not into drama as much, but I'm hoping to create some kind of drama with you guys tonight. Having said that, your New York Islanders right now are 32, 21, and 5, 69 points, and on pace for 98. 98 points. Even if the Islanders lose the next 2 points, if they lose the next 2 games in a row, you're still finishing on pace for 94 points through the 60 games. Okay. Bravo, Islanders. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, successful season. It's a successful season. Why? Because there was so much unknown heading into October with this club. The other important part that Joe and I bring up with games 50 and 60, as you get closer to games 58, where the Islanders are now, and 63, 63 is the average game played for your trade deadline. And what's also important when I'm playing the percentages by games 58 through 63, you can now look at the standings and not have to worry about the percentages, usually about after game 63. That's where everything kicks in. Your averages and your percentages, you're basically coming together at that point. Okay. And now it's the last 20 or so games that really, that's the real season kicking in. And then for the NHL, that's why they say the playoffs start early. Game 63 is pretty much where that starts. So, very good thing that the Islanders beat New Jersey last night for two reasons. Number one, probably, but I can't do it yet. Any win by the New York Islanders, assuming they still stay in eighth place, any win by the New York Islanders and either a loss or an overtime loss by the Devils, and the Devils are eliminated from playoff contention. They're too far back. The pace is just not there. And we couldn't even know if the Devils would stay healthy beyond that point anyway. The other important factor here about beating the Devils last night, had the Islanders lost last night to the Devils, if the playoffs were to start today, the Islanders would be in ninth place. They would not be in a playoff spot. That's how close Columbus has gotten to the Islanders, ladies and gentlemen. That's how close. Percentage points. Absolute closeness. And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. For those of you who want the Stanley Cup, we're going to bring you guys in. For those of you who want to stand pat, we're going to include you too. For those of you who still want to stick to the plan and trade players like JG Pageau or Anders Lee or any other free agent, we're going to bring you in there too. I want to say this now. We do not come out with any kind of information until Joe and I can both confirm it. Okay. Joe has been away with family. I've had my own family stuff as well. We have not confirmed anything of any sort anytime lately. So anything that happens tonight, it is strictly like a water cooler talk moment here tonight, guys. Okay. So before we go any further, let's see what we got here. Okay. Before we get into like any kind of trade deadline deals, let's talk about the team as well. We need a scorer with speed, someone to help our power play. Exactly. And Joe actually helped us out with that as well. Expected Schaefer to be this good and we wouldn't have the draft. Yep. Well, listen, Schaefer without question was going to be the number one overall pick. Did the scouts do their job? Yes. Were they expecting, was anybody really expecting him to do this? No. And we're going to talk about how smart, and again, not necessarily how smart, but we're going to get to know Matthew Darsh, New York Islanders GM. We're going to get to know Matthew Darsh around that time, what he wants to do for sure. Okay. We're going to see what options he really has. And if we have to dissect that later on in a couple of weeks, we will. Richie's been good. Richie's been good. He also got caught a couple of times in the devil zone. They kind of played him nicely. It just feels like this team hasn't played as well the last month or so. Not sure if the standings reflect that, but I hope they can keep up the point pace when they're playing lately the last month or so. Well, listen, here's the kicker, guys, and this is what we're going to go over. After 58 games, are the Islanders really not playing well? Well, we're going to answer that. Through 58 games right now, through their averages, they're on average to play to score 233 goals. The percentages have them going up to 252. That's if they get hot. Now, mind you, when you get to game 60, 63, those two numbers tend to meet somewhere. Okay. Is it possible the Islanders can rack up 240 goals if someone gets hot? Okay. I think you all know who can get hot at some point. Maybe if he gets hot, could you land 240? You might be able to. And I think you guys all know who that is. Okay. Here's your stickler. The Islanders, over the last couple of years, when everyone's healthy, their average is 234. I can't make this up. If I were to include Kyle Palmieri and maybe take someone like Shabanoff out or someone else, the Islanders would be in the 240s. Solid 240s. So are the Islanders actually playing bad? No. Are they playing at a higher level? Not really. Are they playing to where they're supposed to be playing? Yes. They're right there. That they are who they are at the moment. Okay. If you have been following the show for so long, you know my favorite numbers. Okay. 230 goals or less given up by the team. The Islanders have a 93% chance of making the playoffs. It's 100% if they give up 217 or less. Right now, through 58 games, they're on pace to give up 222 goals. And I'm sorry, the sweet spot again for the offense is 240. 240 gives the Islanders roughly an 84% chance of making the playoffs. They're right there. The other hand, they're right there. They're close, Mark. Yeah, we'll talk about that. You need two brooms for that one. Are the Islanders bad? No. Are the Islanders great? No. Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Yeah. Like this is who you are. This is who they are, guys. You certainly can't be disappointed with it. What you're starting to realize is that this is a new NHL. Okay. My hope for this team at the 60 game mark was 87 to 92 points. That used to get you ninth place. Solid. Now you're looking at somewhere between 10th and 14th. Okay. You're either on that bubble or you're in that sophomore class. I used to call them the sophomores. There was at least four teams. Sophomores, you're just there. Like in high school, you're just there. You exist. You're okay. You're good. Whatever. We don't know yet what 87 to 92 points will be. We don't know what 94 points are going to be. Okay. The Columbus Blue Jackets, and Charles just brought them up before, or Mark did. When do they cool off? I don't think they will. That's going to be the question here. Columbus Blue Jackets are on pace for 95 points, and they may miss the playoffs. The Islanders could finish with 95 points and miss the playoffs. Like that's mind-boggling. It happened last year to Calgary. But here we are. So your Islanders, and let's talk about I'll type it in here. I knew I was going to forget them. Let's talk about Plot and Susie. Okay. I do like these traits. Why do I like these traits? Because you are helping out the team on your 200-foot game in your defense. And the reason why I continue to harp on this is because I haven't even brought up these numbers yet. Forget about the offense for a moment. Forget about the offense for a moment. When the Islanders allow, as a team, 3 goals or less, 3 goals or less this year, 28, 2, and 2. Let me repeat that. When the Islanders, as a team, allow 3 goals or less in a game, they are 28, 2, and 2. Now, you guys understand why someone like Palat was brought in. Now, you guys understand why someone like Susie was brought in. I love Susie, to be honest with you. He's a perfect third pair defenseman with Mayfield. I think he just has to get used to the system, and you're good. And Mark, I'm going to disagree here for a moment because the offense is up. Offense around the NHL is completely up at the moment. Okay, unless Isaiah George is going to rack up 25 points, 30 points in the season, there's no need to bring him up yet. Okay, Montreal went to the COVID Cup, the COVID Cup Finals against Tampa Bay. They had 4 huge defensemen, and they made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals against Tampa. I think the first or second time, whatever one it was. Okay, it's that same concept. Susie is here for the short term to solidify and help out Ilya Sorokin. It's not about Isaiah George. As a matter of fact, I don't think any of the kids did bad this year. I don't think any of the Bridgeport kids did bad this year. I thought they all played phenomenal. They added that depth that was needed. But if you want to get Ilya Sorokin to become a Vezina Trophy finalist, you needed a big boy to help out Mayfield to clear that crease so that way Sorokin can see everything. So I understand you like, the idea of Isaiah George, but in this new NHL, a lot of these defensemen are going to have to start putting up more points. Heck, even Adam Pelixon pays for a great time. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But we'll get into him later. So your Islanders, ladies and gentlemen, are winning at the defensive game, big time. You're 12, 6, and 2 in the Metro. That's what you want. When you score first, you're 24, 5, and 3. When you allow the goal, you're 8, 16, and 2. That means you need a little more offense. You dominated the Rangers this year. I think you're like 17, 12, and 3 against the Rangers over like the last several seasons. So here you are. Your players, save for one. As far as the scoring goes, as a team, you're there. Defensively, goaltending, you're there. And where do you end up right now? You're in third. On pace for 98 points. After this Olympic break, the Islanders are going to have roughly 4 or 5 games. We'll get a little more specific as, when we finally get there. The trade deadline arrives. Okay? For those of you who want the cup, there's quite a few of you out there. Rightfully so. You want to take a shot at Pittsburgh. You want to finally exorcise those demons of Carolina in Carolina. You want the cup. Conference finals wouldn't be bad. Losing to Tampa wouldn't be bad. Although don't shut out Buffalo, but we'll get into that later. For those of you who want the cup, this is what Joe had to say. I did get Joe's comments beforehand. So, with 24 games left, the Islanders need to score or rack up 35 points out of those last 24 games. Okay? Need the D to step up. Probably a little bit more on the defensive side as well, but again, throwing in some offense. You need scoring from your bottom six, and we still need a bruiser. There's a lot there. Now, adding 35 points to what the Islanders already had would get you 104 points. It's 104 points. You'd be battling Pittsburgh for that home ice advantage. But what most fans may not know is that sweet spot for a Stanley Cup is 104 points. Been a long time since the Islanders have been there. That's a tough order. For those of you who want Isaiah George down, that would probably require Boquist getting sent down and bringing George up. That would complete the defense at the moment. And then on the offense, you're probably looking for another centerman or you're looking for a winger or both, adding to that depth. Because if you're going to try to rack up 35 points in the next 24 games, Ilya Sorokin and David Rittich won't be able to do that for you. You're going to have to add some kind of offense. And to be honest with you, I think you might have to go center as well. You got to have another center who can make your wingers better. That Matt Barzal can't do that, but putting him on wing with Horvat and Heineman probably sounds better for a cup run than it does anything else. So let me see. Yeah, Buffalo's tough. We'll get into him. Losing Palms absolutely hurt. Here we go. The cutthroat has begun. I'm ready to dangle Yzerman in a trade. Fair enough. It would probably cost Yzerman. It may cost a first rounder. Who knows? Shabadon for Druin need to get it going. They might. They might. So listen, you got to give to get. It's going to cost you. For those of you who want that cup this year, ask yourselves, can you get by Carolina? Can you get by Pittsburgh? Can you get by Tampa Bay? Can you get by Buffalo? When that's all said and done, would you be able to get through Vegas? Would you be able to get through Colorado? Okay. A lot of hurdles for this team to go through. Let's do the other option now. The Islanders do nothing. Now, hear me out on this. You can already, after 60 games this season, you can pretty much do a quick season preview of next season. Take a look at this division. The Rangers have pretty much waved that white flag. New Jersey, you don't know if they're going to be the New Jersey Devils or if they're going to be patients at Morristown Hospital. The injuries keep lining up for New Jersey. Some kind of change may have to happen there. The Flyers are starting to get it together, but they don't have the goaltending. They don't have someone like Ilya Sorokin. The Washington Capitals may not have Alex Ovechkin next year. How are they going to look? Right? The Columbus Blue Jackets. New coach. Wonderful. The Islanders did this. Worked with Patrick Waugh. Is this a fluke? Is Columbus for real? We don't know. And then you got the Pens, who are going to be another year older, like the Islanders. But the Penguins don't have a Matthew Schaefer. The Penguins don't have an Ilya Sorokin. They have Sidney Crosby. Don't get me wrong. Okay. They may have Malkin, but even Malkin gets injured. Who's to say that even if they re sign Lee and Pajot, the Islanders could probably get 2, 3, or 4, and they'd be battling for a playoff spot next season. I'm not saying this is the correct course of action, but I'm curious to see how Matthew Darche is as a general manager. Did he improve the team with Palat and Susie? Yes. That was more tinkering than it was a retool. He brought in players who have a better 200-foot game or a bit better defensive game to help out Ilya Sorokin. Okay, but I'm going to throw this in there. He's not Kenny Morrow. How ready is Danny Nelson? Is Danny Nelson ready to play in the NHL this year when he's done with Notre Dame? Which, ironically, I believe at the end of the month, his season with Notre Dame is over. Ta-da. Would the Islanders sign him to an ELC when his college season is over? Have him burn one season to play for the Islanders for the rest of this year? And then you can make your JG Pajot trade. You can trade Pajot. You can trade, I don't know, any other winger you wanted. Maybe it is Duclair. Trade Pajot and Duclair to Montreal for someone like Patrick Laine. Why not? Those numbers match up. You want to throw in Yzerman? You throw in Yzerman. That's how you get a trade done. And then you have Patrick Laine. Patrick Laine with Cal Ritchie, Jonathan Drouin. I think Laine would help out your power play. If you wanted to keep Barzell on the second line, okay. Then you got Laine, Horvat, and Heineman. Oh, see, this is the amount of fun we can have throughout February. I'm not saying Danny Nelson is ready. I'm not saying he should spend time in Bridgeport. All I'm saying is we don't know yet if Matthew Darche has anything going. What kind of a GM is he? Because listen, even if you were to re-sign Pajot and Lee, you're still letting the kids develop, whether it's Bridgeport or Hamilton. There's nothing wrong there. What's going on, Joe? He did, Rich. Yeah, he does get injured a lot, and his contract is up. But he can probably play for the rest of this season, get the Islanders in the playoffs, probably score a power play goal or 3 or 4, maybe shock Pittsburgh. And then look, you give him a 3-year deal. I'm sorry, give him a $3 million 1-year deal. Show us you can stay healthy. What's wrong with that? He is a smart guy. He might, but I'll tell you right now, his faceoffs, he would replace Pajot in the faceoffs very, very quickly. All he'd have to do is get into the zone of the NHL. Is Cole Eiserman ready? Probably not. But that's what Islander fans get to look forward to up until the trade deadline. Is Matt Barzell comfortable staying on the second line as a second line center? What's up, Cutler? Cutler, give me your thoughts. 2025-26 Islanders. What do you think we need at the trade deadline, if anything? Nelson may need 1 year in Bridgeport. He might. We've also been told that Nelson might be up here sooner than expected. Yeah, family and work schedule a little rough this year. That we know. That we know. Keep them all at hometown discounts, Joe. I agree with this. Give him 2 years, 3, 4 years per. If you can trade for line A now, why not? If he's healthy, see what you got. If Montreal is really trying to get rid of him. And again, line A is just an example, folks. Joe and I have not been able to confirm nothing this year. We've been horrible at this. Okay. But if Danny Nelson is ready for the NHL, even at third line, for the rest of this season, you put Cal Ritchie on second. You make a trade for, like, I don't know, we just have fun here, Pajot and Duclair or whoever for line A. There's your power winger. And if Barzell wants to stay there at center, you can move Cal Ritchie over to it. Well, he prefers center. You can do whatever you want. You still have Barzell. You still or you could even trade Danny Nelson. Let's go that route. Danny Nelson for another center. Danny Nelson and a first rounder for that number 2 or 3 centerman. You can do that if the Islanders wanted to do that. Yeah. You can't sign Stamkos. He's under contract. You got to trade for him. Like I said, is Matthew Darsh willing to trade someone like Nelson? Probably not. I think Trent Klatt would lose his mind. And that's why I'm bringing up this discussion. Maybe just for this trade deadline, the Islanders do nothing. Maybe you keep Danny Nelson for a playoff run. He's another centerman. He's going to win you some faceoffs. And look, he has shown up in big moments. How quickly is he going to get acclimated to the speed of the NHL? It's going to be a tough call. He certainly can be you know, a front net presence. He's a big boy. He can stand in front of that net. You can have him do something. No, and I'm kind of with you here, Rich. As far as I'm concerned, the Islanders at this mark, it's a successful season. We had no clue what was going to happen this year. Absolutely none. But here they are. We actually get to talk about the Islanders making a trade or two or nothing and still have a shot at the playoffs. Even though I don't think they're still going to make the playoffs, but that's another conversation. You guys don't talk about that. True. What can Matthew Darsh do? Ooh. Uh, uh, ooh. Ooh. I don't know about that. I don't know if I don't know if I trade both. That would be a tough one. No. See, unfortunately, for Huberto, he's got hip surgery, and I haven't been able to get this confirmed yet. But they're calling it's pretty bad on Huberto. I wouldn't mind Huberto though. You put Huberto with Horvat, sure, that'd be a rejuvenation. Yeah, he's got hip surgery. He's out for the season. He could be out longer. That's the issue with Huberto. Mm, Off season maybe. We'll get to that later. Yeah, but Stamkos does not want to leave Nashville. Stamkos doesn't want to leave Nashville. Nashville is that tax-free state, sales tax-free state. Um, and look, at one point, Barry Trotz said everyone was, available. Next thing we know, Barry Trotz is stepping down. Nashville's a hot mess at the moment. I wouldn't mind Stamkos. Don't get me wrong, Joe. I wouldn't mind Stamkos. And honestly, I'm not concerned at the moment who we trade for. But who we trade for, how we get let's just say, for example, Stamkos. We're going to find out what kind of a GM Matthew Darsh is when he's trading a couple of prospects or picks for someone like a Stamkos, for someone who wants to win now. Maybe if the offers aren't right, he just stands pat, which I would be okay with. Buchnevich is a sneaky one. He would be a sneaky pick. He's a centerman from St. Louis. Cairo, I mean, I'm not, again, for me, guys, I don't want to sound like a Gen Xer, but I am. I don't care. You know, this trade deadline is just going to show me and show everybody else what kind of a GM, from a personality standpoint, Matthew Darsh is. If there's a right deal in place to be made, I know he's going to make it, but, you know, is he willing to give up, you know, the future for now? Because that's a business move. Okay. He's learned from Tampa Bay, Julian Breezewell. We don't see Tampa in the drafting in the first round. Not often. And let's be honest, except for last year's draft, none of those prospects were drafted by Darsh. Any of those prospects in Bridgeport, in college, except for last year's kids, they could all be traded. So it'll be very interesting. Maybe. Maybe. Stamkos is kind of getting up there too, but he doesn't show it. Brock Besser. Oh, don't mess with my emotions again, Joe. I mean, if the cap can work, maybe. But that's where we're at. That's where Islander fans are at. For now, the Islanders are playing the way they're supposed to be playing. They're winning based off their defense and their goaltending. The goals could be a little more timelier. We know that. Okay. You do have a minor league team that's on the verge of making the playoffs. From an organization standpoint, through the first 60 games of the season, you got a lot to be excited about. There's no doubt about it. What you're going to, and again, those trades, the Palat and Susie trade, that was to help out Sorokin. That was to help out the defensive system. That's going to improve. Okay. Again, for those of you late to the show, you're forgiven. But when the Islanders, as a team, allow 3 goals or less, you're 28, 2 and 2. 28, 2 and 2, 3 goals or less. That's average goaltending on most nights. And when you can clear the crease to allow Sorokin to see the puck, bingo. For those of you who want the cup, you may have to wait until the summer to see what kind of moves Matthew Darsh makes. You know you're going to be near the cup when you're starting to get first place or second place in that division, or 102. Excuse me, 104 points. The record when the Islanders are leading after two, I have that 17-2-1. When they're tied, 11-2-3. So let me repeat that again. When the Islanders are leading after two periods, they're 17-2-1. When they're tied, they're 11-2-3. Oh, Cutler. Good call. Would he come back? Would he come back? You got Palat. Palat's a gamer in the playoffs. Nino Niederreiter. Oh boy, that's a good one. No, Nino. That would be that's an interesting one, though. Again, nothing confirmed here. This is strictly water cooler. This is conspiracy theory fun here. Nino Niederreiter wouldn't be bad. If you couldn't get Stamkos, who would you go after? If you couldn't get Nino Niederreiter, who could you go after? Or Line? Doesn't matter. Well, that was bad last year, Rich. Yeah, they were bad last year. And I like this. No one. Run with it. Why not? Run with the house money. You're keeping your kids. You're keeping the draft picks. You're keeping everybody. Why not? And as we just talked about before, I don't think Washington's going to be a threat next year without Ovechkin. The Flyers, they don't have the goaltending yet. And Michkov still hasn't found his stride. Jersey is Jersey, and the Rangers are just in Manhattan right now. So Joe brings up a good point here. The Islanders really don't have to do anything yet. Jonathan Tays, no, I think Jonathan might actually end up going to Detroit. Sure, low cost. I'm good with that. Go with what we have. Why not? It's house money. Okay. Honestly, let's be blunt and honest here. The Islanders are overachieving. Bingo. They're overachieving. Let's see. All right, let's have some fun with this. Let's see how much the gravy overflows on the mashed potatoes. Okay. Let's see how far they can go. You can bring up Danny. Sure. If you needed to. The popular rumor right now on Evander Kane, I believe, was Dallas or Colorado. I think. We do need an enforcer. Tom Wilson? No, he's with Washington, hun. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. But no, I agree with that. Joe said the same thing. We still need like someone bigger on that fourth line. Oh, here's one. And this is just, again, sticking with the theme. Montreal's trying to get rid of Patrick Laine or his contract. I don't think Anaheim wants to keep Ryan Strome. I mean, I know we're doing the whole recycle thing, but he's a centerman. It is fun. Instead of Stamkos, let's change that up a bit. If any centerman we can bring in can make his wingers better, let's do it. Bring in a cup. Not yet. Ross for a third. Ross Johnson. I don't know if I want Ross in the playoffs, though. I don't want that enforcer on the bench. I need him playing. Yes, Ashley. Yes. Big guy fight and score. Yeah, a little Bobby Hole. Not Bobby Hole. Yeah. Gordie Howe. Excuse me. Bobby Hole. Had me thinking Chicago there with Jonathan Tays. Yeah, they are. Oh, no. No. Scratch that. My fault. No, they're trying to sign Robertson. What do you mean, no Strom? It's half a season. Maybe one more, Joe. Come on. Come on, Joe. At this point, Anaheim would be willing to give up future considerations for Strom. Come on now. No, we don't have enough centermen. That's the problem. We don't have enough centermen. No, and if you think Cal Ritchie's ready for the playoffs, okay. No, no, you need another experienced centerman. Unless you're keeping JG Peugeot. That's a completely different line. That's not a blockbuster. Cutler, what did I do to you? Did I piss you off somewhere? Come on, Cutler. Ah. Bringing back the Long Island kid. I don't think Randy will allow you to bring Coronado over. What about and see Ottawa? I don't think Pinto would be available from Ottawa either. You think so? Mm, I don't know. But can Ross score some more goals? That's the question. You need a Swiss Army knife type of enforcer if there's any of them around. Some would take Strom back. Okay. But there you go, folks. Now we got you thinking here. Don't play armchair GM too long. Let's see. JG, I think he'd stay for 3.5. 3 years. Let's see. 3.5. 3.5, 7, 10.5 mil. Yeah. Maybe 3 years at most. 2 years would definitely get it done. 2 years at 3.5? Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, we're all on the same page here. I don't know if I go two. He's very versatile. He can play wing. He can play center. His faceoffs are still there. Um, I think 3.5 would be sound. If they can get him for three, lovely. But I think JG would only take less money if he knew what the plan was for the Islanders to do moving forward. Bridgeport 1-1 at the end of 2. Good. That's what we needed. Now that's interesting. An Eric Cairns type D man. I would agree with that, but that D man in this new NHL has got to put up some points as well. So, maybe Cairns can work on Aitchison when he finally gets up here next season. See, that's what I mean, guys. This is, and I've said this before, the Islanders are still in a transitional time period here. If they make the playoffs, wonderful. If they don't make the playoffs, I'm good with that. Because we know there are certain players that are eventually going to they're going to take their shot here. And we're going to give we're going to give them their shot, hopefully. Yeah, give them 3.5. Why not? That'll give Nelson at least another year or two to develop if he even needs that. I don't think he won't need 3 years in Bridgeport, folks. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, he's that one player. I think he may only need one, a solid year. But I thought Cal Ritchie was going to spend a solid year Bridgeport, look what happened there. You guys have got to. I say this almost every other show. The younger you get, the less of a chance you have at making the playoffs. This is now a business for the Islanders. Their business is to get into the playoffs. That's how they're going to make their money. You can get away with Danny Nelson. He's already got the NHL size. He's at that right age. He's 20, going to be 22 soon, I think, or 20, yeah, 21, 22. Okay. Keeping Pajot for another 2 years won't kill this team. Anders Lee, we really haven't talked about him. I still feel that's going to be a personal decision. And right now, I don't think both players want to leave. I think both players want to make the playoffs with this team. So I don't think that locker room is going to get. And this is the other thing we, as Islander fans, have to take into consideration, especially us older Islander fans. And I consider myself an older fan. Matthew Schaefer right now is definitely the future of this franchise. If this locker room is solid, that's part of his development, folks. It's not just the points, it's not just the charisma, it's not just the attitude on the ice, it's not the way he skates. It is the way he presents himself. It's the way he's learning about that locker room. He's learning what a winning environment is. Okay? When LaFontaine showed up, those Islander players only lasted a couple of seasons and then they were gone in a matter of a year or two. And then it was just him. If you can keep some of these guys in that locker room for Matthew Schaefer to learn and grow with, he's going to carry that torch. And making the playoffs each year with these players is going to be phenomenal for his development off the ice as well. Lee signs 2 years, 4 year per. Maybe. I don't mind that. Bye bye, Lee. Whatever. Okay. Oh, Gabe Velarde. Oh. Ooh. Here's the thing with Winnipeg. Okay. They had some injuries this year. Winnipeg is a team that I could see them like Boston. I can see Winnipeg bounce back next season, kind of like the way Boston did. So I don't know if Winnipeg is going to be selling anything or anyone, but I don't mind Gabe Velarde. That's a good choice. And that's if you put him on the third line, Joe, I don't even think he'd be expected to score 20 a year. Honestly, 15 to 20 on the third line, as long as he keeps his the 200-foot game going, that's fine. Maybe score a couple of power play goals if he gets a chance, but you know what I mean. He's a third liner at that point. You don't have to put those expectations so high on him after that. Getting younger and faster. But if you're going to be a cup contender, you want to get younger and faster. All you're doing is kicking the can down the road, much, much further down the road. Why can't we just be in contention for a playoff spot and then poof, there we go? After the development of some of these kids who are going to be good, probably in another 2 years at most. Okay, this NHL is much, much tougher than it has been in years past. Matthew Schaefer is without a doubt the exception at 18 years old. Celebrini's in his 20s, younger 20s, but he's in his 20s. San Jose may not make the playoffs this year. Connor Bedard's in his younger 20s. Chicago's not making the playoffs this year. Anaheim got older in order for them to get into a playoff spot now. Okay. The Sabres are probably the lone exception, but I haven't even looked at their average age yet. But they've been through the ringer. Lee would be to take up valuable. Boy, you guys are willing to trade the captain, huh? I just, mm, I don't know. Who are you willing to bring in? Because I'll tell you right now, with Panarin no longer in free agency, you're limited. Uh huh. Matt Martin might be the only older player ready to play a game right now. No, no, he's third line. Well, again, he's been with Calgary. I don't know. That might be a sneaky good pick. Yeah, that's it. You know, and again, at this point, I don't think there's a left winger who can put up his numbers just yet. I think in another year or two, we're going to see that, but I think that would be the right time for him to go. But yeah, he's homegrown, guys. It's going to be tough. True, true. So I like this conversation. Let's do a quick poll here. Trade or keep Anders Lee, just for fun. Utah, Seattle, San Jose are the best wild card. Who do you like out of the as a team in San Jose celebrating sets up? Utah. Yeah, I do like Utah. I like Utah. I think it was last year or the year before when they were Arizona. They were hitting my radar back then. I do like what Utah has done. I don't know if the Kraken's going to make the playoffs with what the Kings just did with Panarin. I know he's 35, but Matthew Schaefer's 18. This is still about Matthew Schaefer, folks. We're keeping him. Okay. Well, that's moving along. You got Aitchison. You got George. You've got Schaefer. You got Romanov for a few years. You just need two more at some point. A right-handed D would be phenomenal. So now we're keeping Lee. Okay. Columbus is sneaky good. Columbus could be sneaky good, and they got themselves one hell of a coach. Keeping Lee. Okay. Incentive based. I can go along with that. Keep if the price is right. Keep Lee. Okay. We're keeping Lee here. Keynote ticket. I like that. We're keeping Lee. Fair enough, Leo. Leave for a third rounder and I'd be happy. Okay. Okay. Good discussion here, guys. Very interesting. So let's recap real quick. Your Islanders are your Islanders. They're not playing poorly. They're not playing great, though, but they are who they are at the moment, and the numbers don't lie. Your defense and your goaltending are going to get you through the rest of the season. After the trade deadline is over. Okay, Charles wants me to show this. Trade Lee. Okay. After the trade deadline is over, the Islanders, like every other NHL team, they're going to be playing every other game, every other day in March. leading up to the end of the season. You could, depending on the team, but would you just want a first rounder for him? You know he's a gamer. And again, this is how we're going to figure out Matthew Darsh moving forward. Whether the Islanders are going to be more businesslike or are they going to be more hockey like? What Cutler's coming up with is a hockey move. Pajot for a first round pick, and then you go later on. A business move might be Pajot for a player now and maybe a second round pick to keep the Islanders competitive and moving forward going into the playoffs. Yeah, Tampa let Stamkos go, and Tampa's doing phenomenal. Stamkos was chasing the money. Let's just get that out of the way. Didn't get him anywhere. Tampa's going for a Stanley Cup this year. Go figure. No, 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 no. You would trade JG Pajot. Okay. If our defense can stay healthy. If any of them can stay healthy. Why not? Why is this so laughable? Why? JG Pajot will throw his body for any team in that playoffs. He loves the playoffs. He'll live for the playoffs. But again, I don't see the Islanders making those trades. I don't. I got told back in October, and this was confirmed. JG Pajot getting traded was a 50-50 shot at best. Lee was even less. Some might, if not a very high second, depending on who you are, depending on where they are. Folks, you guys are gonna. We're all gonna start to realize draft picks, trading draft picks are going to be very, very common moving forward. If you thought Lou was crazy, wait until you see what this generations of NHL GMs are going to be doing. I'm telling you, you are never going to see that traditional 7-year rebuild ever again. You won't. You won't. You're going to see these quick retools. You're dealing with billionaires. Billionaires are very impatient people when it comes to making money. They want to make money. They want to make money now. They wanted to make it 4 weeks ago. This I agree with. Maybe that whole anything's possible. I don't know if this is going to be the year to do that. I'm kind of hoping the playoffs are predictable up until the finals. And this is going to be the theme for the NHL next season and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that. Because I think the NHL, I don't think there's going to be any more guarantees of anything moving forward. I think every team's going to have a shot at the playoffs every year now. That's how good things are getting with the NHL. Multiple quick retools will build you a strong team. That's what Florida did. That's what Vegas did. That's what Colorado did. Playing on a budget is also going to get you the Stanley Cup too. So look, Islander fans, your team is doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're on pace for 98 points, 60 game mark. Consider this a successful season. None of us had the Islanders going this high. Now we're going to find out what kind of a style Matthew Darsh really has. He has said all the right things. Yes, it takes two to tango. something Lou used to say as well, but that is actually correct. Let's see what he's actually given. If he doesn't like it, let's see if let's see what happens. No, no, it's Schaefer. It's Schaefer. It's Sorokin. It's the Islanders. It's the team itself. It's Schaefer. Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I'm going to take a look at my work schedule. Yeah, I may see you in Scranton. Speaking of Schaefer, great segue. Final thoughts for me about the momentum moving forward. Okay. The Islanders have not done well starting a season under Patrick Waugh. You're starting a new season at the end of February, the first 5 games. The Islanders must get off to a hot start. 2-2-1 is not a hot start. 4-1, 3-1-1. That's what you're looking for. This is Alex Ovechkin's possible last season. Bet your butt, Alex Ovechkin's going to try to tear it up with those Caps. The Blue Jackets are absolutely going to fill that momentum up again, and they're going to take a run at the Islanders. In order to get that momentum, Matthew Schaefer needs to be ready. Matthew Schaefer can help carry this team just through the emotions and get this team to a playoff spot. Will Matthew Darsh be able to help at the trade deadline? We're going to find out. But I'm genuinely curious to see if this team just holds steady and see how far this team can go. It would be a great meter. Yeah, yeah. Schaefer's going to be a phenomenon, but we'll get into him at the end of the season. Bingo. And the question for me moving forward, this kid, correction, my apologies. This young man has been on nothing but an adrenaline rush since he's been drafted. Is the adrenaline going to be gone when he comes back and relaxed? Or is he going to be able to take it back up to the notch where he was before? And for me, that's going to be the fun part. Because if he has it, the Islanders, you're in for a great ride the end of March. Yeah, Montreal's tough. Then Columbus. Yeah, we have not been great. I'll give you that, Leo. But we played most of our games for February. We already played them. Matthew Schaefer is your emotional pump. He's going to need the veterans to get him through this. But he's going to be that driving force. He must be that driving force on that emotional, positive level to get this team through the season. There's no other way to do it. Washington with Ovi, if this is his last month, you bet. This is an easy trade deadline. Watch for Washington to make a move. Maybe Columbus adds a little bit more. Don't trust Philly, but I'm not sure. Stamkos or nothing. Fair enough. Fair enough. Does Stamkos want to come? That's it. Also true. That's also true. And that's why I'm talking about the emotional part. I'm not so worried about the physicality. That's going to be the ultimate test. And this is the other reason why, folks. When you're at game 60 and you see you're playing every other day, don't set the expectations. We haven't seen this in years. We don't know what this team is going to do. We don't know what any of these NHL teams are going to do, but it's going to be tough. And you're going to need Matthew Schaefer to be that emotional spark plug to keep this team going. And he is mature and he is a great person, but this is also a great test for him, not just the rest of the team, but it's a great test for him. Absolutely. No, he's going to be the next young man to win the Calder. He's not a kid anymore. He's been through too much. And everything we've seen so far, he's a young man at this point. And that's what we want to see. But again, when was the last time we saw professionals in the Olympics? Been a while. We haven't seen a schedule like this in a very, very long time. I'm not saying he can't do that, but we want to see it. We want to see what the Islanders have been doing for the last 58 games. We're hoping everything can continue for the rest of this season. Cutler. There's the enforcer we've been talking about. Wasn't Celebrini wasn't he a Calder nomination last year? I think it's between him and Seneca and Demidov this year. I think Celebrini was supposed to be last year. Yeah. Yeah. Demidov, Seneca, and I think Schaefer. But Schaefer should win this one. Nope, we're good. That's a good quiz at definitely 9:14 at night. Don't got me thinking there. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, Leo. I don't know what to tell you, bud. A lot of fans don't like it when I say this, or even when Joe and I say this. It's not about the Stanley Cup. It's not about the Stanley Cup until you actually get there. This is a business now. These guys don't know how to get to the Stanley Cup. They've never been there. It's not about the Stanley Cup yet. They know how to get to the playoffs. It's about the playoffs. From the business side, playoffs make you a lot of money. No, you won't win that. Yeah. No, that's right. JT was wrong on that too, even though it was a joke. But let's reaffirm one thing though. Matthew Schaefer is definitely a young man at this point, especially with everything he has gone through and he's going through right now this season, because this is for sure a battle tested time for all of them. Brian, it's not just Bo. We need again. You're starting a brand new season. It's a brand new season. Everyone has to stay healthy. Yes, everyone needed this break. It's not just the Islanders. Everyone did. True. True. We've seen it. Also, kudos to Lane Lambert, doing a phenomenal job. So, all right, boys and girls, if that's all, please follow us on Isles Talk on X at Isles Talk. Follow us on Facebook, like us there, and on that YouTube. Hit the like button on this show. Follow us on YouTube. That way you can get all the notifications. The numbers have been going up. The analytics have been phenomenal. Big shout out to the Facebook, the groups, the Misery Group, Cutlers, Matt's, the Drive for Five. Oh, I was at the Drive for Five viewing party last week. Phenomenal time, great time. I love talking everything with you guys over there. Part of that show is actually part of the viewing party over there. So great time over there. The Loyal Islander group, the Worldwide group, Real Islander fans, Coffee Buzz. Um, I think I got you all in there. But again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Love talking to you guys. Um, you know, enjoy the Olympics. And for all my Canadian fans and followers here, we love you. Just not on the days we're going to play you. Yeah, let's make the switch. Yeah, we can do it, Cutler. I'm all right with that. You know, enjoy the Olympics, guys. Don't play armchair GM. Don't play armchair GM for the next 3 weeks. Okay, let's learn to hate. Let's learn to hate Canada during those USA Canada trips, and then we'll all be friends after the games. We'll all have a couple of beers somewhere. Okay, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of hatred every once in a while. Thank you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Yeah, I'm about to get minus 25 to minus 30 wind chills here starting tomorrow. So yeah, that'll be very interesting for me. Let's go, Canada. That's fine. So yeah, he is on a minor. So thanks, guys. Listen, your Islanders did good. They're doing good. It's going to be a rough March. Don't play armchair GM right now. Enjoy the Olympics. Take this break off. The players are taking a break. You take a break. Root for your favorite country, your team, whatever it is. Have fun. Oh my God. No. Ooh. Well, I'm about to experience what minus 30 really feels like. So here we go. Absolutely. Let's go, Islanders. That's the one thing we all have in common here. Let's go, Islanders. Guys, you've been great. Thank you so much. We'll be on sometime next week. And I'll let you know. Okay. So enjoy, guys. Let's go, Islanders. Let's go, Team USA.